Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Prospect Charter School's Algebra 2 course. Today we're going to be going over section 7.8, curve fitting with exponential and logarithmic models. So this is curve fitting using regression. So this one's a little more difficult than normal, mainly because it's using regression requires a lot of work, a lot of calculations, which we don't have time to do as a human being. So instead what we are going to do is we're going to learn the shortcuts. So the first thing that we do, and I think we might have done this before, but we're doing it again, is we are going to first determine if it is logarithmic or exponential. To do that, we do something called the poor man's derivative. And I think we've seen this one before, but we're going to go over it again. Let's say that we have some data, and our data looks like -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we have something like 5, 15, 40. Well, 5 is too big of a number. I can't do those in my head. Let's try it with 2s. 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32. If we're doing this, we would start out by making sure that all of these have a difference of 1, or at least the same difference. From -1 to 0 is 1, from 0 to 1 is 1, from 1 to 2 is 1, from 2 to 3 is 1. Then we look at consecutive differences between the next ones. 4 minus 2 is 2, 4 minus 8 is 4, 8 minus 16 is 8, 16 minus 32 is 16. So we can do these until we basically run out of things that we can basically run out of times that we have terms for, and we won't get to a point where they're all the same number. So instead we look at what's the pattern. Well, looking at the pattern, if I take 2 and I multiply it by 2, I get 4. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 16 times 2 is 32. If I see this as the case, then I use an exponential model. If I saw it as every single time it was reversed, in other words, I had inputs of 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32, and my outputs were -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3, this pattern would be logarithmic. Now, to do these by hand requires more work than I'm willing to put you through, but to do them using a calculator is actually pretty easy. So let's pull up our handy dandy calculator, go ahead and turn it on, and we start with simple things. We start with the stat button, and then we go to edit, and you'll note that we have list 1 and list 2. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this data out because we're not using this data. Okay, so from here what we would do is we would put our data into our calculator. So for our examples on these, our inputs would be -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So I put those in. -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. And then for the y values, we plug in 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32. Note that you have to have exactly as many inputs as you do outputs and exactly as many outputs as you do inputs. If you don't, your calculator is going to break. So don't do that. It's bad. Then we quit out, and we're back to the screen. We go back to stat, then we go calculate, and because we already did the poor man's derivative, we know that this is going to be an exponential. So I go down until I see exp reg. There it is. EXP reg. This tells me that this is an exponential, and we're going to be using the regression model to calculate it. We then make sure that our x list is L1 and our y list is L2, and then we tell it to calculate. Here you go, calc. And it gives us the equation of y is equal to a times b to the x. b is 2 and a is 4. So our equation for this would be y is equal to 4 times 2 to the x power. And that would be the equation that best represents this data. Now to swap them, I'm going to go stats again. And I'm going to go straight to the calc because it's the same data, only it's been swapped. And I would go to ln reg, which is natural log regression. And then I would put in L2 as my x list and L1 as my y list, and then go to calculate. And it gives me a is equal to -2 and b is equal to 1.4426 blah blah blah. So for this one, I would have y is equal to -2 plus 1.446 times the natural log of x. Of course, if we used log base 2, this would actually be really easy, but we didn't use log base 2, we used natural log, so it's not going to be nice. Alright, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. That's the entire lesson for today. Feel free to use this stuff on your homework, what you should do in class, and have done before you go. And basically this gives you an extra day to get it down, because this was the last section in the chapter. Tomorrow we're going to be going over the chapter review, and then Wednesday we will go over the chapter review again, and then Thursday we'll have our test. Okay, homework section 7.8. Hashtags math is awesome. Being sick sucks, but such is life. Let's go 1 through 7 odd, and then 11, 12, yes I know it's an even, 13 and 14, 17, 19, and 21. I know this is a little different from the last one that I gave you, but that's good because it gives you repeats, but also gives you new ones. Alright, good luck and have fun.